People know me from all over the world, you know. I've been to the UN twice. I made a grand slam at the UN when I first went there. We have something like 1.5 million acres in West Virginia destroyed before I went to the United Nations the first time. And I gave everybody one of my shirts because, see, you can't create banners into the United Nations. Too commercial, too political. But it didn't say anything about t-shirts, so I gave everybody one of my t-shirts. Our country is supposed to be the most civilized country in the world and the most educated country in the world. And yet we're using the most barbaric form of energy known to mankind. This issue of coal right here, it is killing people. The most abused resource that we have, the most abused, resource that we have is our earth itself. The next most abused resource we have, I was talking to some young people out there in the lobby a while ago where my table was. We had a bottle of water out there, and I had this coal. And I told this young fellow, I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take your water, I'll give you this coal, and we'll see how long you can live. Then we can trade again, I'll give you the water and take the coal away. You can live. You can live with water. The most abusive resource we have now, people, is getting destroyed because we're putting 60 to 110 chemicals in the water. Then therefore putting the water back in the injections in the ground, back in the ground. One of the largest dams in the whole world is called Brushy Fork. That's what I was arrested the other day. You don't need computers to check Brushy Fork out. 9.7 billion gallons in this dam. 1 gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. 1 gallon of mine waste weighs 4 times that much, 32 pounds. And you put 9.7 billion gallons above abandoned mine shafts, something's going to go wrong here. People are going to die. In the last few months, 3-4 months, we've had 3 dams break. Throughout Appalachia now we have lost 477 mountains. 477 mountains that cannot be replaced. When George Bush came to my area in West Virginia to endorse mountaintop removal, I got a big sign, a 4x4 sign, and I wrapped it around me like this, you know. And I put my overcoat in over top of it, and I snuck through the metal detectors, and I had this sign. And every time I get close to the national media, his Secret Service arrested me. You ever see the movie Men in Black? They was playing the role. They were Men in Black, sure, you know. And then the state troopers, they got me twice. I was arrested 5 times that day. All told, in the last few years, counting that 5 times, I've been arrested probably 16 times. The last time I was arrested was last week. Before I went to the state capitol, I told them this. I said, there's going to be arrests today. There's going to be people assaulted today. There's going to be people taken to jail today and possibly to the hospital today. I really didn't know I was going to be the first of all 3. Gibson University, who come up with a study about what coal does. He said we lose 300 to 400 people a year. He's a professor now at Morgantown University, WVU. Took a couple of years or several years to come up with his study. And he said to me, he says, I've been reading that you've been calling for the abandonment of coal over the years. He said, I'll tell you how I did my study if you tell me how you did yours. Oh, God. I didn't know I was going to be asked such a complex question. I said, well, you know, and how I did my study is we buried our people. And when the funds were there, we did autopsies on our people, and we've seen what caused the deaths. And so here, coal, again, plays a role. I tell you what's so hard for me to go through this. Every time I go away from my mountain, I come home, and I'm going to somebody's funeral. Let me tell you about these kids now. They're kids. 90% or 98% of them go around with breathing apparatuses, you know? You walk through the playground. Walk through the playground. Come and see me, I'll show you. Walk through the playground and step in the ground like in the grass. And they told us to come up and hit you. We had a surprise inspection of the school one day. Took a scientist with us who come up with what the kids were breathing. And the kids was breathing in the first 6 years, from kindergarten to the first class to the 6th grade. They would have the same symptoms that a feed miner would have working in a mine. You might say I'm beginning to be a tourist attraction. I don't want to be a tourist attraction. I have, and I hate to say it, have been in every major outlet as far as news media around the world, actually, from France to Australia to England, Germany, all over the world. This issue of coal is coming into play. But when Bobby Kennedy came to see me, he said, he walked up to the man, he walked up to the side, he said, my God, he said, any other country would have done this, it would have been an act of war, he said. I looked at this man, you know. I looked at this man and I said, you know, it is an act of war, you know. And we walked back out to my pavilion and we sat down. We were talking. I said, can I be frank with you, Mr. Kennedy? He said, call me Bobby. I said, okay, Bobby, can I be frank with you? Sure. I said, I got to tell you, you didn't impress me today. I said, your family status don't impress me here today. My God, he said, my goodness, what would impress you here today then? I said, I take this issue very, very personal. Coal has killed a lot of people in my family. I said, you came here today, I'm taking you on a tour, and I'm giving you the best I can. And we're sitting in my pavilion right now, and we're talking about this issue. I said, can you listen for a minute? Clack, 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 clack. Dozer tracks. Backing up the whistle. Big machinery. Dumping, you can hear the rocks rolling over the side. I said to this man, I said, you would impress me today if you came here and walked away and this would have walked away with you. We use 3 million pounds of dynamite a day in Appalachia. What's your dog in the fight? Your dog in the fight is your future. Your great-great-grandchildren's future. And now the black that you can see in this film, right here, the black mark right here, is now gone too. And this here land that I have sits at 2,400 acres in the air by itself. But when the mountain was there, the mountains around my land was taller than my place. What keeps you going, she said. And all the time, I was going back and forth across this country all the time. I thought it was a no-brainer. I thought people knew what kept me going. And simply because I'm right. I am calling for the rebirth of resistance across the land. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm calling for the rebirth of resistance across the land because we have been too submissive to what's happening to us. This thing they call coal. Coal seems to think of themselves as king coal. My daughter used to believe in a tooth fairy too. She no longer does. That's my impression of coal. When I get done in my career, the lady says, hell, you picked a hell of a career, she said. I didn't pick this. Simply, I didn't pick this. If people living in the coal field want to survive, they have to plant their feet. They have to become what they don't want to become. Activists. Environmentalists. I don't like the word environmentalist because wherever I go, people know I'm coming before I get there. They kind of already a tag on me. They got an opinion about me. How come I can't just be a concerned citizen? Thank you very much for having me here today.